After visiting New York a few years ago and passing through a Jewish community in Brooklyn, I witnessed a level of unity and self-reliance that I had never seen before in any other community. And after seeing this, I began asking myself the question of how were they able to create such a unique community? So after I returned home, I began looking more into it, and I whipped out my handy tool called the internet, and I began going through the realms of the Jewish community and watching relevant videos from people who were in that community. And one video that popped up, it caught my attention because it talked about the Jewish economy. And after watching this video, it gave me great insight into the question that I had originally asked. So what I want to do is I want to share this video with you so you can see how other communities think and operate to create desirable communities. Here we go.
Today I'm going to be discussing the Jewish circular economy. A lot of people have said that Jewish people are good at business. Now, instead of me calling this anti-Semitism, I'm going to double down and say, heck yeah, we're good at business. Let me teach you some of the secrets that we've accumulated over the past 3,000 years. This being one of the biggest and baddest secrets that we have. You're going to want to stay until the very end of this video because that's when it's going to all start to make sense. And you're going to be able to apply this not only to yourself, but your community and everybody around you. My name is Beryl Solomon. If this is your first time on my page, please hit the subscribe button. Please leave me a like. Please leave me a comment so that we could be connected more often. Let's jump in. The Jewish circular economy. Let me explain to you how this works. So there's a few core businesses that Jewish people are involved in. Let me first explain to you what type of businesses we go into. So one is, it's a business that has to make a lot of money. To be Jewish, it's expensive. I myself, thank God, have 5 kids, and hopefully I'll have more than 5 more. It's expensive to be a Jew, and we need to make a lot of money. So that's number one. Whatever business we go into has to be lucrative. Number two, it has to be moral. It is very rare, if ever, actually I can almost guarantee this, you will never find an Orthodox Jewish man in the strip club business. Yes, it makes a lot of money, but it is not a moral business.
Now pay attention, because he said you won't find an Orthodox Jew operating immoral businesses like strip clubs. An Orthodox Jew meaning one who practices Judaism as is commonly accepted. So he's specifying Orthodox because there are more than likely Jews who are outside of the Orthodox classification who are involved in immoral types of businesses. So for the Orthodox Jew, they enter into businesses that make a lot of money and are moral according to their standards. So let's keep going.
Let's talk about some businesses that do make a lot of money and are moral. So let's just talk about like real estate, for example, okay? Let's call real estate one of the core businesses. So here's the circular economy explained. So a Jewish man gets a real estate deal. Let's call it 200 units in the Bronx, okay, somewhere, right? And he buys the deal. First of all, the deal most likely is probably coming from a Jewish broker or one of his other Jewish friends in the real estate business. So once he secures that deal, he needs to go finance that deal. So who's the first logical person for him to pick up the phone to? A Jewish friend that is in finance, right? There's Jewish people that own banks, there's Jewish mortgage brokers, there's Jewish lenders out there. He's going to pick up the phone and he's going to call his buddy that he sees in synagogue every day because his buddy knows that he's a good guy, he trusts him, and he knows that if spit hits the fan, he knows exactly where he sits, exactly where his house is, exactly who to talk to make sure he could get through to him. So Jewish businessman is going to buy the piece of real estate. He's going to want to finance it with one of his Jewish buddies. And now he's going to have to service that piece of real estate, right? There's snow removal, there's cleaning supplies, there's construction that's going to need to be done. All of those, he's going to try to hire Jewish people and Jewish companies in order to try to fulfill this. And I'm going to explain to you all why. It's going to make sense to you, like I said, by the end, but you got to stick to the end. So now he's hired his buddies to do the construction, like I said, to do the remodeling, to do the construction supplies. Whatever it is, he's going to try to hire Jewish. And now those companies, so for example, like as I mentioned, the construction company, right? That construction company also needs services. The construction company needs accounting, it needs advertising, it needs office space, it needs all types of ancillary services. So even the the supporting the direct services to the real estate, the supporting service, right? The construction company, we're just using one of them for example, he is going to try to hire Jewish people to do his indirect services. He's going to hire a Jewish business accountant. He's going to try to hire a Jewish lawyer. He's going to try to rent his office space from his buddy Shlomo, who owns the office building right next to his synagogue. You see what I mean? He's going to try to give that business to those people. And by the way, all the while, all of these people all along the way, guess what they're all doing? Circular economy. They're taking tithes, they're taking at least 10% of their earnings, of their profits, and they're pushing it down to charity. So that means, and by the way, their own charities, their own synagogues, their own schools, their own food banks, their own disability centers.
Meaning they're not waiting for the government to come and do it for them. They use the concept of the tithe, or taking a tenth of their earnings, and fund the charities that are beneficial to their people and beneficial to their community. And why does this work so well for their community? Because they have people in their community who actually believe in these ideas, and they clearly see the benefit of running a community this way, right? To make a better community for themselves. Now, would it be possible to do what he's explaining if most of the people in that community didn't really believe in this idea? No. And that's why you have to have the right people with the right mindset to make something like this happen. Or you're just going to have a lot of people trying to tear things down every time the community tries to build things up. But the Orthodox Jews, they're working as a team, and they're building their own schools, their own food banks, and their own disability centers.
Why? Because they want to create this circular economy. Now, let me tell you why. You might be watching it this far, and you might say to yourself, how is it fair? Why is it okay that they can do this, that we can do this? First of all, not only is it okay, but you're going to understand why and how you could apply this to yourself and your community going forward. So let me give you some reasons why a circular economy is good for you. So number one is, this is probably the biggest one, trust. Everybody in this circle, okay? If he has a problem with, let's say the real estate guy has a problem with the company that's supplying to him his supplies, his cleaning supplies for his building, and he has a dispute, right? So he ordered $10,000 worth of garbage bags. The garbage bags turned up faulty. Now they have a problem. So he knows, the real estate operator knows, that if he has a problem with any of the people that he's doing business with, because they are Jewish, they have common friends, they have common rabbis, they have common associates, and they will be embarrassed to screw each other. They won't mess each other up.
They will be embarrassed to do wrong to each other and to mess each other up. In that community, your reputation is going to be tainted for scamming and ripping people off. Meaning, collectively, his community has established this as unacceptable behavior, which is embarrassing to people who do it, right? And it encourages people to do correct business with one another, which builds trust in the community.
Because they go to synagogue with each other. They go to school. Their kids go to school with each other, right? So they're going to be very careful in order to treat each other with respect and dignity. So trust is the number one thing. Here's another thing. They think the same, okay? A lot of times, I'll get on the phone with people from different cultures. I remember when I was the vice president of my college, and I remember people think different. We had somebody who represented the LGBT community. We had somebody who represented the African American community. We had somebody who represented the Chinese community in the school. We had the evangelical community. All of us came to the table. We were trying to make policies, and I remember we all thought very different. We all had different priorities. So they're creating this circular economy. Why? Because they think the same.
They think the same, or they're on the same page. And what's one of the ways that they think the same? By taking a portion of their money and putting it into areas that will benefit their communities, like schools, food banks, and disability centers. And since they're all in it together because they think the same, this is one of the ways that they win collectively as a people. Let's continue.
And then number three is because they're a big family. We are a big family. right? So it makes sense that you should want to see the people around you succeed. It makes sense that you should want to give the business to your brother, to your neighbor, to your cousin, to your uncle. Why? Because we are taught in Judaism, and I see a lot of communities, they don't understand this, and they have to get better at this. We want to see each other succeed. We want to see each other grow because we understand. Check this out, and it's all going to start to make sense, right? I told you to watch to the end. We understand that if we're all doing well, the excess flow of all this money gets pushed down back into the community charities. So when my neighbor, my Jewish neighbor does well, and he's making a lot of money, and he now is going to donate that money to my kid's school, right? Let's say that's one of his charities, right? He's going to donate that money to my kid's school. That's good for me. My kid's going to have new whiteboards, new blackboards. He's going to have new equipment, new gyms, new whatever it is. So I want to push money, and I want to push business towards people in my economy, in my community. Why? Because my community directly benefits, and when my community is doing good, I benefit from that doing good. So this is not unique, by the way, to the Jewish community. I don't care what sect you're from, I don't care what religion, what race, everybody could establish this circular community.
Now, can you see the importance of learning from other people? Of course you can. Now, what this demonstrates also is the power of living in the information age, because just 40 years ago, someone would have probably had to have a direct connection with someone from his community to learn exactly how his community operates. But today, living in the information age is just a matter of asking the right questions and then clicking a few buttons to find the answer. And this is another reason why it's important to step out of the small bubble that you're in so you can see how other people are doing things. Because a lot of the times what you'll find out is that there's already someone out there who has already solved the problem that you currently have. And the only thing that you need to do is get the solution from them. Forget about how you feel about them personally. The focus should be strictly on the solution to the problem. And that's it. And so I think the Jews do a great job when it comes to building communities. And I have no problem at all saying that because I'm not a hater, right? I'm not a hater. I like studying people who win, and I enjoy watching winners, right? And I enjoy learning from winners. And all winners like doing that, right? So the circular economy is a tool. It's an idea and a tool that will be modified, and it's going to be implemented into the Earpoise culture, right? And so hopefully this video has given you some insight and a new perspective on things that other people do out there. And so I want to thank you for watching all the way into the end. My name is Brooklyn St. Michael, and I'll see you in the free world.